Hey guys, you know who it is. You know where you are and you know what's happening. JChats is back. So just simply subscribe and share, and of course click that bell so you know every time I drop a new video, you're there with me. Topics may include growth, development, social issues, broadcasting, even marketing for one's business. This is where we learn together. JChats, from interests to insights. Enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to JChats. I am JD, and as you know, what we're doing is certainly connecting with various persons within different industries to educate us, or as my tagline says, offer interest that turns into insight. It's all about that. This gentleman right here is a very good friend of mine who is one of those persons I certainly had to get in our space together to discuss some very pertinent topics, because actually he raised it and said, Jay, these are things that we need to speak about. So the questions are really about, should companies be marketing right now? The loom above us, or I should say the cloud above us, is COVID-19, and it is affecting many of us no matter the sector you work within. But many persons have small businesses, and they're trying to figure out, what do we need to do to stay active, to stay relevant? So post-COVID, we are still recognized. So companies be marketing right now? That's a big question. How can they be strategic even during these times of quarantine, COVID-19 in 2020? So on screen with me inside of JChats, Mr. Ian Marcus Lewis, who has been involved in marketing for over 15 years, currently the marketing manager at Ferrera Optical. He's also worked in different sectors from telecommunication, energy, and of course now he's doing optical. He is here today to answer some of those questions that we may have in our heads or minds that we've just been shelving for some time. So thank you so much, Ian, for giving me some of your time today. I really do appreciate it.
Hi, Jay, and of course, thank you for including me in the first JChat. I should say welcome back on board, right? I'm very happy to be here today to share some of my own insights, and probably, hey, never know, I could learn some things from you as well.
We'll see how it goes. I think I'm going to be pulling all the information from you. First off, I want to put this disclaimer out. If you guys see me looking that way, that's where I've got my notes inside of this studio here. So if I'm looking, I'm not in any way not paying attention to Ian. I'm just also trying to multitask with the eyes. By the way, he does that excellently, I'm telling you. So that's one of the things I want to learn from Ian. So in this time where we're dealing with COVID-19, Ian, it is important that brands address many of the issues that are there, but also do what they need to do to stay in the know or present. So one of the first questions I want to put to you, how do we do that with some sort of empathy during this crisis? Or should we be doing that? Double question, really.
Right. So one of the first things we have to admit is that there is a pandemic going on. For many businesses, some of them, their doors are still open, but for the vast majority, they are closed, either closed 100% or some percentage downwards. The fact that we are all suffering, and by all I mean both businesses and of course customers, all suffering from this. We as marketers, and by extension businesses, we need to build that relationship with our customers now. Engagement needs to be heightened, and by engagement I'm referring to any type of conversation we are having with our customers. We should be heightening that conversation now. The fact that we have this, I'm going to use the word downtime loosely here, that we have this downtime is where we need to increase our volume in terms of what are we saying to our customers. Everyone is going through some level of stress, right? Some level of ordeal by which we now have to figure out how do we as a business sympathize with our customer, right? Even if it is a matter of us not being, not talking about an item available for sale, how do we now have a discussion with our customers that relates to COVID-19? How do we try to find a way to build a bridge so customers find that level of support, right? There are many different angles you can take the conversation of COVID-19 around. Everything from, do I put out information in terms of statistics? Do I put out information in terms of safety measures? Do I put out information that you're not really seeing that much, which is the other side of COVID-19? The fact that our customers now have a totally new normal, a new normal way of working, a new normal way of educating their kids, a new normal way of socializing. There are many legs in that particular arm of COVID-19 that as a business you can build upon. Now is not the time for self-promotion, right? Now is the time to basically pull yourself back and start talking to your customers as if they were friends, you know, and sharing key insights based on the position the company has taken in terms of what voice are we going to have in the midst of this pandemic.
One of the things you just said a few minutes ago is that we need to not also just consistently be throwing in the customer's faces the brand or the item or the service that we offer. Still tying that balance, if I can say, between, hey, we recognize what's happening with COVID-19, yet we still want to remind you that we do have your services or your goods available for when you need that. How can I be accurate about gauging that thin line? Because there's a very thin line between the two.
The key to it is really not capitalizing on COVID, right? It's just not smart for your brand.
Question, how do I not capitalize on COVID?
Right. Simply be very sensitive to your messaging. Be sensitive to your imagery. By your messaging, what I'm referring to here, we don't need to see any hot COVID sales.
Okay.
Right? If you're running a promotion online, please let the promotional code be COVID. Right? It might seem cheeky to a few in a boardroom, but it's certainly not going to resonate well with others who are actually on the ground, your actual prospective customers. You have to know exactly where the company, again, is going to position itself. Understanding who is your target audience is so key to how you relate to them in terms of the messaging. So why not capitalize on COVID? It's just very insensitive at this point in time, right? Persons want to know that you are actually, for those companies that are still able to function, whether it is you are online or you have an actual store, they want to see that you are now able to provide the service to them in a way that it is sensitized around safety.
Right.
Right? So your messaging needs to actually be manipulated in such a way that persons are hearing, if it is you have now created new safety measures, new times for your businesses to be open, new services whereby I'm actually able to come in and get my masks, come in to get my sanitizers. They want to hear certain key things. There's certain buzzwords that are there now. So you have to be able to have a conversation around COVID in a very unique way that's very much so in line with your business. Take, for instance, I believe it was Pennywise, actually. Pennywise spoke about the fact that they are now accepting the government's, I believe it is one of their cards, right? That presents social assistance cards. And I heard it in passing, and I'm like, Pennywise? And then they spoke about the fact that you can actually get your masks, you can get your medication, you can get your sanitizer, you can get your gloves. And I'm like, beautifully tied in to what is happening now. Scotiabank is also pushing out a lot of information with regard to how they have changed their method of operations inside the bank that is in fitting with ensuring your safety as the customer, their safety as the provider, and then overall, how can we ensure our safety within the general operation of getting you your money, securing your money, building your finances. And this is being messaged out online as well as on radio and television. You know, so it's about finding the way in which the company can provide a solution which is in keeping with what is happening now. Right? Persons want to know that.
So I like what you're saying because it's a marriage of still offering the services, but also offering that empathy as we do go through this together, whether it's Scotiabank, whether it's Pennywise, whether it's Ferrera Optical. And I speak of Ferrera Optical, I see your Instagram page and all your social media platforms very much still hinting that, giving that subtle mention of what you offer, which is glasses or sunglasses, but you still have more of a heavier touch on the heart pertaining to COVID-19, how you work from home, what you should, different things that we need to know, which we are really paying attention to right now, many of us who are operating from within our homes. So I see that marriage you speak of. Now, you mentioned just a few minutes ago the importance of using the correct imagery. Right?
Yes.
So how can I evaluate what is the correct imagery? And I know you're such a stickler for this. If you guys don't know Ian, he is on point when it comes to caption, the words that we use, the diction, the message that is being given out. That in itself will play a big part in terms of pulling those persons in.
One of the key things as a marketer, as a marketer, I'm referring to the fact that we also have businesses where it's a one-man operation. All right, we have the sole traders, we have the partnerships and so on, where you wear many hats. So whether it is you are a traditional marketing professional or you're a one-man shop doing everything, one of the things you have to be very, very conscious of now is sensitivity to some of the conditioning that is being put out there for the new normal, right? So in terms of imagery, please don't have an image of a crowd of people. Please don't have an image of persons all holding hands and they're together, touching their faces. Not the time, right? A beautiful tagline I keep hearing over and over, stay together by staying apart, right? That'd be a guide to you, because everything you need to do now needs to take into account the fact that we are shifting our paradigm, right? Post-COVID, I think masks will continue to be a thing, right? Because the safety measures will remain heightened. So in terms of imagery, having a lot of persons all over on the beaches and so on now, not a good time. A riverline picture, not a good time, unless you're saying it's a TBT. Right? But be very, very conscious of it. If you're going to have persons who are visibly out of their homes, be sure that they're wearing a mask. Right? Now is not the time to simply dig into your database of stock imagery and pull one out. Right? If you're going to use people, make sure at least they're in a home-like setting. Right? Because the big push is for persons to remain indoors, right? And so you have to be very particular about the images that you use to ensure they do not connote the wrong message. If I just even give an example, if you don't mind, a video that we would have used at Ferrera Optical, which I would say was released a couple of weeks before the real push towards us heightening our safety measures with COVID-19. And as part of Ferrera Optical's traditional greeting, it was always to welcome the customer with a shake hand. And we had a video where one of our brand influencers came into our doors and was shaking the CSR's hand. And a couple of weeks after that video continued to rotate, right, and everybody's antennas were up because we were well aware of the dangers of touching and so on, persons were asking, are you all still shaking customers' hands, right? Recognizing that there was a disconnect between when the video was produced, posted, and when it's being seen weeks after by some persons for the first time, we were quick to message and acknowledge when the video would have been shot and how we would have actually adopted our safety measures to now remove a handshake as part of our greeting, right? But that's the sensitivity to which we speak of. Persons will definitely recognize any flaws, and you have to be conscious of it in terms of any type of imagery and of course your messaging.
Part of the messaging, should we adopt some sort of, like, for instance, with Ferrero Optical, you say you have a tagline attached to your company. Is that something that we should look at as well? Even as you just hinted a few minutes ago, that many of us are standalone with our business, like myself, or you have those that have more persons involved in that, partnerships involved in it. Should we have that sort of tagline? You even mentioned some said stay home to stay. What was it? A few minutes ago, you mentioned something.
Stay together by staying apart.
So this is a newly adopted tagline by someone. Is that something as well we should also think about creatively to assist in our branding of our company as well as our compassion?
It definitely is a good move. I think altogether, companies need to tie into what are the elements of my brand heart. The brand heart here really speaks to your vision, your mission. What do you want customers to say about you? How do you want your business to be interpreted? So now is the time to actually tap into your brand heart and unleash your brand's personality, the softer side to your brand, right? You really want to ensure that persons are able to recognize that you as a business have that softer side to what you do. Right, you're seeing so many companies pushing out messages where you are seeing a heightened level of "we are here with you," right? We are offering you different services because we understand. That type of messaging where it definitely is a lot more emotive, a lot more positive. That's what you need to be pushing now, right? Now is the time, Jay, for companies to really tap into its brand heart. What is a brand? What is the brand heart? The brand heart basically is an explanation of the company's vision, its mission. How does it want to be perceived? How does it want customers and perspectives to really look at it and understand, hey, this brand stands for X, Y, and Z. This is the time to unleash your brand personality. It's beautifully done by companies like Be Mobile, where you're seeing a softer side to the message, right? It's Be Home campaign really marries nicely what is happening now. It still speaks about connectivity, right? Based on telecommunications, but it's talking about persons being apart, very sensitive to the message. Now is the time to really tap into that emotional side of what you do. I would have referenced Bank before, Pennywise, even Arima Discount Mart, I heard recently, all creating services, but the way they are messaging it, it's talking about you. The focus has shifted to you, the customer, and that's what you want to ensure. Even at Ferrero Optical, our corporate campaign messaging, which speaks to who says you can't, a very emotive stance we put for customers. In the midst of everything here, we are saying, who says we can't, right? Simply changing that you to we, because we are part of this new normal. Who says we can't, stand Twin Island strong. And you're seeing different companies taking that position, very emotional, very inspirational, and that is what customers want to hear. So we spoke about imagery before. Persons want to see a smile, right? As normal as it might seem. Persons want to get a little breath of fresh air. They want to get a little motivational, a little upbeat something. Message, right, coming through from businesses. And companies now need to take that position. They now need to understand how to find that balance between if I'm still open and I'm offering a service, and also finding that room to really communicate and engage with customers based on what is happening today.
So you speak about brand heart, and you speak about, again, having that merge of offering and also offering that compassion. How can we still highlight how your own brand can assist whatever you offer in terms of service? Don't get me, so like you guys are, in terms of optical care, eye care, how can you now, as an owner of a company or marketing manager of that company, how can you use that to highlight your brand and how it will help us through the process? So we highlighted what the process is, what we're going through. We highlighted what you offer, but how can your brand now be merged into saying, this brand can assist you to do so and so? Do you get me?
Yeah. What you have to, as a business, actually pull back and assess is how do customers use my brand? How do they interact with my products, right? Because in there, with so many persons being home, you now have to provide helpful information for that customer, right? So if you're going product specific, you now need to look at what if my customer is home, what are some of the challenges or what is, that they might face with my product, given that my businesses might not be open as usual for them to visit. What are some of the challenges that they might actually be facing, and plug that hole with some tips.